And as Rebekah always says, when people ask her why she likes to sunbathe,
I sunbathe because I am a solar panel and I am saving up energy for the long winter months.
Hello! Hi! I am so happy to see you. I am Rebekah Teshuvah, and welcome to the Happy Hippie Hebrew Girl Show. I am so excited that you are here. So stay with me for tonight's show. Shabbat Shalom, by the way. We are going to talk one more time about the health of our bodies, but this time we're going to talk about our heart and our mind. So stay tuned. I've got a great show coming up for you. Woohoo! Hello again. I am so glad you're here. I am excited to chat tonight about what Papa has laid on my heart to finish up this health series. So this is Kata and Buddy's around here somewhere. I want you to know that this show is dedicated to helping you move your head knowledge into heart knowledge. So helping you move from just thinking about things and knowing truth and knowing how to repent to actually doing it. So stay tuned. We are going to chat today about something super important, and that is your heart, the health of your heart and the health of your mind.
This show is sponsored by Teshuvah Ministries, promoting a simple understanding of salvation and of the Royal Melchizedek Priesthood. Visit www.teshuvahministries.com for more.
Good evening and welcome to the newsroom. I am Rebekah Teshuvah, and tonight, like father, like son, where does Yeshua echo the Father? We are going to look at how both of them talk about the lost sheep of Israel. So let's first look at where Yeshua talks about it. In Matthew 15:24, Yeshua says, I have only been sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So he's talking about Israel being the lost sheep. Let's look at where Yahuwah talks about that, where the Father talks about the same thing. In Jeremiah 56, he says, my people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have led them astray and caused them to roam on the mountains. And when it says my people, he's talking about Israel. So there you have it. One more example of where Yeshua came to speak his Father's words, not his own words. Are you part of the lost sheep of Israel? Are you part of the scattered Israel? Yeshua is trying to find you. Yahuwah knows you by name, and he's asking you to come out of the nations and join him on this narrow path. Until next time, I am Rebekah Teshuvah.
All right. So today I don't have anybody in the house except Kecha, and Buddy may show up in a little bit to hang with us a little bit. But I want you to know that this is the 14th, I think this is the 14th show in season 2, and I've got one more show coming next week, and then I am gone for sabbatical leave. Yay! I am super excited about that. But I will be back, hopefully, in 2020, March of 2020, to prepare season 3. That will start in the fall of 2020. So I'm hoping to have a great show for you at that time. But for now, I'm going to I'm so excited. I mean, how many times do you turn 50? Once. Whoops. And, you know, I remember as a kid, you know, looking at the idea of 50, seeing my parents and stuff, and it was kind of scary. But now that I'm here, on the brink of it, I am so excited, because 50 in the scriptures is Jubilee. It's like freedom from, you know, debt, and freedom from all kinds of things. And you get to return to what, you know, was yours before, and all that stuff. So I know that he's talking about a cycle of his own 50 years and stuff, but when I look at my life, I'm like, this is a season of Jubilee, and I'm super excited. I'm going to take care of my heart and my family and my body, and I'm gonna just kind of focus in a new place for a little bit. So I love all of you, and I'm super happy that you have helped me grow, and that you have given me the opportunity to speak into your life. For that, I do not take that lightly, and I'm just so humble and thankful that you have allowed me to share with you what I know, and inspire you to grow in this journey of repentance. So I just wanted to let you know that, and I am going to play the next segment for you and see if I can find Hadassah's envelope with the encouragement in it, and I don't know. I might not be able to. But just so you know, if you've been watching and realizing that I haven't had a show for a couple weeks, like 3 weeks, I think, I got really sick and was not able to continue at that time. So I'm just coming back, and excited to do a show for Shabbat. So definitely Shabbat Shalom. I hope that you are having a fabulous, fantastic rest. I know sometimes Shabbat can be a little bit tricky to, you know, figure out how to spend it. So I hope that it is going well, and maybe this is your closing out of Shabbat is joining me tonight. So here we go. I've got for you another campfire song with Bruce. I love Bruce. It's so fun.
All right, welcome to beautiful Hayden Lake, Idaho. I am Rebekah, and this is my friend Bruce, Buddy Bruce. This is my This is my mentor, Bruce. In fact, Bruce taught me how to water ski. You taught me how to boat. You taught me how to do an interview when I was terrified, because you terrified me. Yes. And you've helped me learn how to play guitar. You've done, I mean, you taught us how to do fire starter. That was super important in our life. Fire starter was super cool. All right, we are going to sing some songs tonight with Bruce. One of the greatest things about Bruce is that he knows the guitar so well that he can just pick it out. Yah, you are my God, and I will ever praise you. Oh Yah, you are my God, and I will ever praise you. I will seek you in the morning, and I will learn to follow your ways, and step by step you lead me, and I will follow you all of my days. Oh Yah, you are my God, and I will ever praise you. Oh Yah, you are my God, and I will ever praise you. I will seek you in the morning, and I will learn to follow your ways, and step by step you lead me, and I will follow you all of my days. Uh-oh. Okay, from memory. Oh Yah, you are my God, and I will ever praise you. Oh Yah, you are my God, and I will ever praise you. I will seek you in the morning, and I will learn to walk in your ways, and step by step you'll lead me, and I will follow you all of my days. Okay, so we're gonna do that like twice. Okay. All right. Oh, yes. Oh, hello. Well, what are you doing here? Welcome to my storage unit. And, oh, what was that? Oh, you want me to tell you a story? Oh, I would love to tell you a story. I have so many great stories to tell you, and this is a perfect place to tell a story in my storage unit. I have just so many things around me that remind me of wonderful times in my life and hard times as well, but full of memories. So let's see. What story could I tell you? Well, definitely come in while I think, and sit down and make yourself comfortable, and let me figure out what story I think I should tell you. Oh, yes. So, I love pictures. Pictures are like, for me, they are memory, what do you say, memory joggers. So, a picture will remind me of a time in my life, and that picture has so much, it captures so much that surrounds it, that it triggers my mind in that memory. If I didn't have pictures, I think I wouldn't remember anything. I don't know what you're like, but for me, I need pictures to help me remember my life. And you know, looking through some of my pictures here, I see so many animals, but one thing that is interesting that I did not grow up with a lot, and one thing that I didn't like was cats. I did not like cats. So we had one cat when I grew up. His name was, what was his name? Midnight. His name was Midnight. Hey, there, I remembered it. And Midnight would, he would suck your thumb. No kidding. So if you were in bed and you were laying down in bed and you had your hand, like if you were laying on your stomach and you had your hand hanging over, he would come up and he would start sucking on your thumb. Super weird cat. So I had issues with cats until we got to the teepee. I learned something very valuable, and that is, if you have a mouse problem, then you need a cat that eats mice. So we got a couple cats when we were at the teepee, And I just thought they're just going to do their job and I won't love them. But of course, I loved them. I fell in love with them. Their names were Senka and Phoenix. And Senka we named after the Jamaican bobsled team. One of the guys in there, his name was Senka. And while we were at the teepee, all we wanted was warm weather, and we loved the movie Cool Runnings when we were at the teepee. So we named him Senka. And Jamaica we named because Senka came from Jamaica. So we had 2 black cats, Senka and Jamaica. Well, when we were at the teepee during the winter, it was so cold. And one winter, I was so done. I was so done. I was like, I have got to get into hot weather. I am just so cold. Like, to my core, I was cold. So Isaac and I rented a rig and decided, it had a little thermometer in the dash that said, the outside thermometer. So it said, you know, kind of what the temperature was like outside. And so we're like, okay, we're going to drive until it's 75 and then we'll stop. I think we got to 72 and then we stopped. And that was at the Arizona border. But one thing that we had to do was we had to let the cats just stay in the teepee by themselves. So of course you can't lock a teepee down, and the cats could come and go as they wanted. So they were not wild cats, they were mountain cats, and they knew their way around the mountain, and so they've been fine. They were adult by then. So we went ahead and left them, and with somebody to come and watch them once in a while to feed them. And so we went to Arizona for 2 weeks, and we came back, and there was only one cat that greeted us, and that was Senka. Phoenix. I think I just said his name was Jamaica, didn't I? No, his name was Phoenix because because Phoenix is a hot city in Arizona that we like. It's called Mommy Mush Brain. So no, the cats are named Senka and Phoenix, not Senka and Jamaica. Jamaica was a cat we tried to have when the girls were little. So it's Senka and Phoenix. So when we got back from Arizona, only Senka was there. Phoenix was nowhere around. So we got back, I think it was a day or 2 before Passover that year, and we were all praying so hard that Phoenix would come back. So we loved both our kitties and really wanted to come home. And so we prayed and prayed and prayed. And as if life wasn't hard enough, we didn't want to lose an animal, one of our friends. And no sign of Phoenix, no sign of Phoenix. So we did all our preparations first for Passover. And on Passover morning, Hadassah, in the little loft, so we had a teepee and we had a loft up there with a little ladder, and she would climb up there, and it could fit 2 beds. So she had a bed there and Maggie had a bed. And in the morning on Passover, lo and behold, she wakes up, and on the foot of her bed is a black cat. And she looks really fast and really carefully. Is it Senka or is it Phoenix? And Phoenix had a blue collar. Senka had no collar, but Phoenix had a blue collar. And lo and behold, this cat had a blue collar, and it was Phoenix. And she starts screaming, and everybody wakes up, and the cat comes down the ladder, and both of them, both black cats right there eating. I have a picture of both of them eating their meal right there in the teepee, with both girls just loving on them and hugging them and crying, and we're like, the cat came home for Passover. So Phoenix came home for Passover. He had to come home for Pesach. That was his job, is to get home for the feast. We were so happy. That made our heart sing for joy during that feast season. During that spring feast season, that was a wonderful thing that Papa did for us, bringing home part of our family. So I bet you have a lot of animals that you love too. At this age, and after all these years I've spent following Papa's ways and his rhythm, I have to say that you follow his rhythm, you keep his ways, his holy days, and he will show up and he will make things right. Things will be just, things will work out. Sometimes things are hard and you enter into these feast days and sometimes everything doesn't work like that. But man, a lot of times it does. And on those times that it does, You have so much joy in your heart, and you can fully rejoice for real. You don't have to fake it. You don't have to try to find it. It's just right there, and it just bubbles up. And that's the best kind of joy, is when it is natural joy. Yeah, natural happiness. Yeah, deep joy that is not. I'm not talking about the deep joy that just never goes away. I'm talking about the rejoicing, the being able to like have it just come right out, just praise His name easily. That's pretty awesome. So that's my story for today. I hope you liked it, and definitely come again, okay? So, because I have so many things here to tell stories about, and lots of life. That's the wonderful thing about living, right? Yeah. You live, you risk, you love, you feel deeply, and you'll have lots and lots of stories to tell. So I like to end my stories again with, and they lived happily ever after. Yeah. I don't know where Phoenix is, but we know where Sanka is. And in the end, no matter what happens, I know that Papa will be happy to give us back our animals. And then we will all live happily ever after. Yay. All right, I'll see you again. Bye-bye. Come back.
There I am. Hi, good. I am glad that you stayed with me, and pretty cool story. And I just wanted to, I kind of wanted to offer this to the rest of that story, is that, you know, how excited we were that a cat showed up for Passover. I mean, just think how Papa feels when his children who have been lost, show up for Passover, show up for his feast. So we're actually on the crest of, is it the new year or is it not? Is it Rosh Hashanah or is it not? So we will know by next week whether the barley is Aviv in Israel. And let me turn this down just a bit. There we go. We'll know very shortly if it is the head of the year yet. And then as soon as we know if it's the head of the year, then we count 14 days to Passover. So we're really close to the spring feast. If it's a 13th month year, I'm kind of excited about, I hope it's kind of that. I hope it is that, so that I have a little bit more time to prepare for Passover, but we will see. It's as a walk with him, is it not? It's like, wow, okay, now? You want me now? Okay, here we go. You know, and then you stop everything you're doing and you celebrate Rosh Hashanah with a, you know, we celebrate it actually with a Hawaiian party. So, and the reason why do we celebrate Rosh Hashanah with a Hawaiian party? Well, it's because the sages believe that he started creating on Rosh Hashanah, which would make complete sense. You know, head of the year, first day of the year, first day of everything. That would be creation, right? And he started creating on that day. So we think, oh, creation, Garden of Eden, paradise, and we're like in the middle of all this cold, so we're like, yay, let's have a party and pretend we're on a tropical beach somewhere and that we're enjoying paradise again. And so we consider creation and all kinds of wonderful things about Rosh Hashanah. Today's show, not about Rosh Hashanah. Next week's show, maybe about Rosh Hashanah, who knows. But I do have some shows about Rosh Hashanah in season 1. But I just wanted you to consider, you know, like the cat came home for Passover. You need to come home for Passover. That's more important than a cat coming home for Passover. So Papa's probably waiting and just so excited if you have come home and you are going to show up for his Moedim, for his Passover. So, all right, I am super excited to continue into, I say that all the time, don't I? Sorry. But I have, I want to show you Hadassah's envelope, but I actually I don't have it, so I can't find it right now. But here, let me show you her envelope that she made. There it is. Isn't that pretty? Week 14. That's a really pretty one that she made there. Let me pull that back. So in her envelope, I believe it was this one. I will read it to you. Kata, hey, are you okay? Come here. Sit. This is Kata. Okay, we're gonna read this. It's from Desiree, and she said, Rebekah, OMG, I love you. I need you in my life, LOL. Your Sukkot video you did a few years ago blessed me so much. I can't wait to join you for the feast in the spring. Too bad I just found your page, LOL. I need community. My family and I are in super religious South, but people are curious about truth. They just need a company of people to show them the way. Sometimes I feel alone and incapable because I don't have a family of my own yet. Keep up the great work. So thank you, Desiree. You know, and I wanted to read this to you if there's any lonely ladies out there, Ezer Kenegdos, who are, yes, you're a little lady, we know that. But you're not human. Go figure. I swear dogs think they're human sometimes. But I want you to know, if you're a lonely lady, it doesn't matter whether you're married or single or young or old or, divorced or widowed, whatever it is, if you are a lady who is walking this path and would like encouragement and support and not in a place to feel safe, where you can share and be seen and heard and be visible, then I have the spot for you. It's Ladies of Teshuvah Facebook group. Now there's a main group, and you have to become a member of the main group before I put you into small groups. So I have small groups actually now. I had 6 of the ladies who have been very active in the group join me for a training. It was a 13-week training, something like that, with me, and I have launched them into small groups. Each small group has 15 ladies who want to be known, want to get to know each other, want to walk this path together, want to shine like light and go out into the darkness of this world together and have that support that you need, especially for the Melchizedek journey. So if you're on this Melchizedek on this Melchizedek narrow path, you know how rare fellowship is, and it's super hard to find. You can't really find it down the street. So we have created a safe place for you to come fellowship and get what you need. So Desiree, just wanted to let you know, go on to Facebook, go ladiesofteshuvah.com and request membership, and then I will put you in a group if there's a spot. So hopefully there'll be more and more small groups that happen there for you. Pretty cool. All right, you're super needy. You're gonna have to go, okay? All right, I have a video for you that is going to begin the process of talking tonight about the heart. So I have a prezi that we're gonna walk through, but I want you to see this video first. I did it for youth, for Melchizedek youth several years back at the beach, and you'll see. I think you'll benefit from it.
Shalom, Teshuvah youth. I want to talk to you for a minute about your heart and how important it is. So did you know that King Solomon in Proverbs 4:23 said, guard your heart, above all else guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. It's extremely important to take care of your heart. Why? Because where's the temple now? There's no brick and mortar temple anymore. The temple is here in your heart, and the Ruach lives here in your heart, and the Ruach speaks to you in your heart. And if you don't take care of your heart, the temple, how can you hear, right? So it's really, really important to take care of your heart. Now that in itself is a huge thing to learn how to do. And as you grow up, hopefully it will get easier to learn how to do. Some people just take their whole want you to know that your heart is really, really important. Yeshua says so too. In fact, Yeshua says that, remember how he says you must love Yahovah with all your heart and all your soul, all your mind and all your strength, all your everything, and then love your neighbor as yourself. How can you love Yahovah with all your heart if you don't have your heart? If you don't know how to listen to it, you can't hear his voice, can you? Yeshua said, what does he say when he opens his ministry? He reaches back to, I think it's Isaiah 66, and he says, I have come to heal the brokenhearted and set the captives free, right? So we're all born brokenhearted. We all can't hear from our hearts. Our hearts are they're hurt because we live in a world at war. But Yeshua came to heal the heart so that we could have the Ruach live in us, so that we could hear from Papa, so that he could love us and warn us and guide us. It's really, really, really important to take care of your heart. Now, I have one tip for you. As you're learning how to hear from your heart and how to take care of it, I'm going to suggest that you ask Yehovah to put his spirit in you, that you ask Yeshua to heal your heart, and sometimes it takes a long time. It takes a process, it's a journey. But then, when there's ever a gut feeling, act on it. And the more you act on it, you might be wrong sometimes. It may not be the Ruach telling you something, but it could be. And the more you act on it, the more you let your heart have a say, the more air you give it to breathe, the more words you give it, and the more respect you give it by actually acting on your heart, I think that the more healed you'll get, and the more you'll be able to hear, and the happier you will be with your relationship with Yehovah. So, moral to my story, the heart is important. The scripture says so. Yeshua said so much so that he came to actually heal our hearts. And when Yehovah says he is going to write his law on our mind and on our hearts, in the new covenant we have got to have our hearts. You cannot celebrate the feast, you cannot be in covenant and keep his ways without your heart. So, I came to the beach, we did as a family, to begin the process of finding our hearts again. Because in town and in the city and just in daily routine life, you kind of lose heart. But it's good to come out in a wide open space and find your heart again. Let the Ruach fill you, blow through you, let Yehovah speak to you. Because there is nothing else worth anything like that. There's nothing else that matters like that. What matters is if you hear from Papa. And you have to have your heart to do that. We'll talk lots more on this, for it's a big subject. It's huge. But for now, there's my little teaching today for Teshuvah youth. So, I think those are my girls out there. And I think I'm going to go run down to the beach one more time before we leave. See you later. Bye.
All right. So I shot that like it said a few years back, and I just wanted to point out a couple things before we get going on the Prezi that I have to show you. But when I was talking about, listening to your heart and acting on it, I have a caution for that, in that there's a lot of times when I hear people say, well, my heart, taught me, like listening to your heart to the point of not being wise and testing what your heart is saying next to what the scripture says. So if your heart, or if your heart is in your gut is saying something that goes against the scripture, then it is not the Ruach HaKodesh. So whatever is in your heart and how the heart is being moved, because remember the goal, the point of the Ruach HaKodesh, all right, she wants to live in you. She wants to transform your heart and your body into the temple, the temple for them to work through and transform, and so she's going to move you, as Jeremiah says, move you to keep his ways. So if your heart is saying, oh, Christmas is fine, ding, 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 we've got to like relook at that, because no, Christmas is not fine. It's a pagan holiday. So we have to go back to the scriptures and get our heart educated and in line with what the scripture says. So be real careful when you say the Ruach told me X, Y, and Z. I'm real careful with that. Like, I'm listening to my gut, definitely. And my gut, I'm going to tell you a story right here about listening to your gut, but I'm also looking at, does it line up with scripture, and does it line up with the history of Yehovah that I know of him, you know? So I totally believe that the Ruach moves on our hearts to help us, prevent us from doing things that should, you know, perhaps are not a good thing to be doing at that moment, you know? So I think the real-time interaction between Elohim and us is true and real, absolutely. So I'm not doubting that one bit, but all I'm doing is keeping an awareness here of making sure that you're careful with deciphering and dividing the word of truth within you, and to say, you know, is that tapes playing from a long time ago? Is that from the Ruach HaKodesh? Is that truth? Does it line up with scripture? So that said, I want to tell you just a quick story about listening to my gut. And I really believe what I said was true back then, in the sense of, you know, the more and more you don't listen to your heart, the more and more you're shutting your heart down, and it doesn't work. It doesn't operate properly, okay? So the more that you allow it to breathe, the more that you actually say, what did you say? Oh, okay, and you actually act on that, the more you're going to get that gut feeling, and the more you're going to be able to trust that gut feeling. And so anyway, just a quick little story here. Maggie was newborn. I think she was a couple months old, actually, and she was in the crib. And just a couple weeks before that, as I was chatting with a friend on her front porch, she had had a baby a similar time, but she had had one prior. So this was my first one, and it was her second one. And we kind of had babies at the same time. And she was saying, she was kind of just teaching me, and she was giving me some of her wisdom. And she said, you know, Rebekah, she goes, if you ever have a gut feeling that there's a sound or something with your baby that you don't understand, just go check it out. Don't not go. That was what she left me with. And so Maggie was, like I said, a couple months old. She was in her crib. I was an exhausted mom. I was so tired. I was just getting used to this whole idea. And I just put her down to go to sleep. And she was on her back. She couldn't roll over at that time. She was on her back. And I put her in her bed. And I went out to get something to eat for myself. I was completely exhausted, as all you moms totally understand. So I went into the kitchen, and as I went through the doorway, I heard a noise in the bedroom, and I was like, oh, I don't have it. She's fine. And I took 2 or 3 more steps and went into the kitchen, and my gut feeling, and I know it was the Ruach HaKodesh who brought back Rosie's words. Rosie is my friend who shared with me, and brought Rosie's words back into my head, and they just like hit me. And go check, Rebekah, because you don't know what that was. I hadn't had the experience to know what that sound was. So I said, okay, and I was exhausted. I said, fine, and I turned around and I walked back into her bedroom and checked her. She was suffocating on her own vomit. Okay, so she had spit up, basically, like kids do, like babies do. She had spit up, and her mouth was completely full, and she was aspirating. She was drowning. And I flipped her over. I remedied the situation, got her, you know, all cleaned up, got her back in bed, and I was operating on adrenaline at that point. And when I got her back in bed and I walked back into the kitchen, it hit me, and I slid down the wall, and I just started sobbing because I was this close to not listening to my gut, not listening to the heart that Papa gave me. The Ruach was living there at that time, and I almost did not go in and save her. Who knows what would have happened? I know what would have happened, actually, and it wouldn't have been a pretty thing. And I was shaking, and so I just want to encourage you to listen to her. So let's actually go through my Prezi, and I just thought I'd show you. This is Isaac, and I don't know if you can see that. There's Isaac and I back when we got married, and since he's not here right now, I was just gonna put him right there to hang with me. I know. Funny girl. All right, here we go. Let's move Isaac right there so that does. There we go. Okay, so this is the last segment in my health series that I wanted to do, and let's see if we can do it this way. It takes a little bit of, I'm gonna enjoy having a little break from technology, or this kind of insane technology for the next year. But anyway, I'm still going, just so you know, Hadassah and I are probably going to do a little foodie show on YouTube, so I will keep you posted with that. Basically, it's Modern Pioneering YouTube. So if you type in Modern Pioneering in YouTube, you should find our channel. It's a big green circle with a white teepee in it, so you can kind of catch up with us there. And also, yeah, and there you should see kind of the next things that we're doing. Yeah. So anyway, something else I was going to say, but now I can't remember. Oh, I do know. This is a beautiful hand crocheted, wonderful little shawl from my friend Shauna in Scotland, and I wanted to wear it for one of my shows. So I just thought I would, it's beautiful, isn't it? It's so intricate and delicate and light, and it's absolutely beautiful. So thank you, Shauna, for this. I like it a lot. All right, let's go straight away to taking care of our minds. All right, so I've just got some random thoughts here to chat with you about. I'm sure that you could add to this like big time, and we could go into this for hours and hours, but I'm going to fly through these. As you know that I have the gift of gab sometimes, so flying through, I don't know. All right, because the Ruach lives in me, and sometimes it just takes over. She just takes over. So here we go. I want to suggest that, hold on just a second. I want the right, there we go. I thought I had those in the right order. Okay, so one of the things, I'm just going to go ahead and start with this slide because it kind of goes back on the part 3 that we were talking about. When you make changes to your schedule, to your eating habits and all that jazz, one way to take care of your brain, okay? So your brain needs to be taken care of. You need to love your brain. You need to love your brain so that your brain can function properly, right? And one of those ways to taking care of your brain is to feed it properly. So you're going to feed your body properly. You're going to be careful with, what you put on you, what you put around you, what you're breathing, all that stuff. We've talked about that before, right? So, but don't overwhelm your brain, all right? Or your brain's going to shut down. It's not going to be happy. It's going to freak out. So make one change at a time, like I talked about before. one change at a time. So you're going to change one habit at a time. Choose one thing. Like for me, it was the sour cream. I changed that, whether I got, the bad sour cream or the organic sour cream. So do one thing at a time and let your brain stay with you. All right. Also, taking care of your brain, the idea of too much input, TV, news, and that sort of thing. And this might have been a good slide to have a little bit later, but I guess we'll hit it right now. Oh my gosh. Like, how much can your brain, which is attached to your heart on one level, how much can that take with the news and social media and all the input that the world wants you to be consuming? I'm healthier, happier when I am not listening to what the world wants me to listen to all the time. Now, I'm not saying that I have my head in the sand, but for heaven's sakes, be careful how much you consume. Okay, so there's no need to have the TV on all the time. Okay, we don't have TV, actually. If we need to know what's going on, we go other places to find out. But the TV that we do have is set apart for DVDs, that sort of thing. But you do not need to start your morning with the news. You don't need to end your day with the news. You need to start your morning and start your day and end your day with what is Papa doing. That's where hope is. That's where, freedom for your brain is going to be. So anyway, also, just remember your brain is like, it's an organ, and the amount of stimuli that we get through the eyes and the ears is like crazy and too much. Absolutely too much. I don't think we've gotten more enlightened and all that jazz. I think we're sicker than humanity has ever been. When we lived at the teepee, life was super simple, and oh man, on one hand, that was a beautiful time because it was super simple. It was frustrating, absolutely, but very, very simple, and there wasn't a whole lot of stimuli. In fact, just as an example, my girls one time, I'll never forget, we were, the girls and I were cleaning up the property, and Maggie was down over there, and Hadassah was over here, and they both had weeding baskets, and I was back over here. We were like quite a ways apart from each other, and we were all weeding. Hadassah was weeding the garden, Maggie was weeding a path, I was weeding another path, and it was 2 hours, and I stopped and I looked up and I realized that my girls were still weeding down on the ground, pulling weeds and doing whatnot in the dirt, and they were not wearing earbuds, they were not listening to music, they were not doing anything but listening to the woods and the sounds. Very, very it was a very cool moment. I realized what children actually get that kind of time anymore these days. I mean, the stimuli is just so much coming constant that it's a barrage for our minds to process. And we weren't designed for this. We were not designed to constantly process stimuli, to constantly process, this, that, and the other thing. And that's what the world wants you to process. The world wants to, Hasatan wants to overwhelm your brain. And when you're overwhelmed and your brain is tired, then you kind of can gravitate towards conspiracy theories a whole lot faster, and go down some rabbit trails that you shouldn't be going down at all. Your brain should be, looking at the majesticness of those trees and going, wow, Yehovah Elohim, you are so amazing, and just sit with that. I mean, who needs the stimuli of, so anyway, so consider that. I want you to consider that. But let's continue on here with taking care of your mind first. The first thing that I can see is to take care of your mind, and actually your heart as well, is to choose to start by giving it to the one who made it and who knows how it works. So you're going to take care of your brain, and I have another set of slides that's about your heart, but you can put this in there as well. So the first thing you need to do is to give it back to the one who made it, back to the one who knows all about it, what it was created for, how it works, what it needs to thrive. So choose to give it. That's how you're going to really begin taking care of your brain and your heart. Okay? There really is no other starting point, I don't think. So if your brain is exhausted, if your heart is exhausted, start with giving it back to him, the creator, the one that knows, and then listen. And what is he saying that your brain needs? What is he saying that your heart needs? Okay. All right. So here's something that I just wanted to chat about for a little bit. When you are considering taking care of your brain, there has been a lot of studies done. Ty Gibson talks about this in his book, Endless Falling in Love. I was talking about ancient love, the love of the family of Yehovah in heaven, the Father, Mother, and Son. The formula for going insane is to think about yourself absolutely constantly. Okay? So on the flip side, the formula for a healthy mind is to operate in other-centered love, which is a huge topic in itself. I think we've talked about it on this show before. It's something that if you don't understand this, you need to understand this. So you want to go insane really, really fast, then just think about yourself. You were created and designed to operate in other-centered love. So if you're not operating the way that he created you to operate, then big problem. Just like I was just saying a second ago in the slide before, give your heart and your mind to the one who created. That's where you start. And then you say, okay, so what did you create me for? You can look at this concept of Elohim is love. What is love? Love is other-centeredness. And so if you're created to be a lover as a reflection of Yehovah Elohim, then you are going to be other-centered, just like they are. All right? And that's going to make your brain super healthy. It's going to keep your heart healthy and your brain healthy. Okay. All right. Another thing I wanted to talk about in this section was good and bad guilt and freedom. Okay. So how many of us have, had so much guilt? I remember there's a show, a movie, with Jim Carrey. It's super funny. Why can't I remember? Anyway, he's like mad and he's like slamming the door and he's like, I'll have that with a side of guilt. so anyway, great storyteller, aren't I? But okay, so there is good guilt. The scriptures talks about guilt that helps convict you, okay? Convict you of sin, convict you of the fact you're on the wrong path, and moving you towards repentance and healing and getting on the right path, on the narrow path, okay? So there is that sort of guilt. It is talked about in the scriptures, actually. And the Ruach HaKodesh is the one that helps that happen. But there is also bad guilt. Bad guilt is something that Hasatan gives that it's kind of like prison. It won't let you go. It won't let you be free from it. It is accusatory. It's arrows. John Eldridge talks about how, Hasatan wants to throw arrows at you and destroy you. Hasatan wants to kill, steal, and destroy, right? And so he's going to do everything he can to, smother you with guilt. He's going to bury you with guilt. And whether it's the Christian tapes playing in your head, whether it's your mother's voice, I know, I think every child is going to grow up with their mother's voice in their head sometimes. But sometimes that's good guilt, right? But other times it's not. And it can completely destroy the concept of freedom and what Yeshua came to give. So when you're dealing with that, I want to suggest that I want you to just sit with the fact there's good guilt and there's bad guilt. And here I want to share with you just kind of on the lines of my other series, the other videos in this series when I talk about, healthy food. Okay, so I am very strong on don't eat non-organic food, or don't eat at least GMO food. So definitely always get non-GMO food. Okay, but there are times when the health of your brain or your heart is more important than whether you have some GMO in your food. Okay, now catch me on, just hear me out on this. So tired mommy, all right, you're driving home, kids are starving, you are absolutely exhausted. You can hardly put one foot in front of the other anymore. So do you allow yourself the freedom to say, you know what, I've had enough. I am going to stop by Taco Bell. I do it. I have done it. Yes, I have. So, I'm tired. I get to be super tired. I've got starving children. I'm hungry. I say, fine, let's go to Taco Bell. And, it's not the norm. It's something that I do not do every day. If you're doing it every day, then there is a problem. But it's not the norm. It's something that I do once in a while when mommy needs it. Okay. So I break the rules. I break the rules of what I have set, which is no GMO food. I break the rules for the health of my mind and my heart. So because I know that your heart and your mind are so important. If you're not taking care of your mind and your heart, then you're going to have major issues. So I give myself the freedom to break the rules, not Papa's rules, not Papa's rules. I'm not talking you break kosher or you break, the holiday rules or anything like that. You break the rules that, like for me, I have set the rule of I want organic food. So I break that rule when my brain absolutely needs a break. Okay. And my heart needs a break from fighting all that comes with, that rule that I have made. Okay. So, or like, I remember one time I was so tired. I was by myself and I'm like, you know what? I need a break. I need a treat. I went and got some ice cream. I got a whole thing of ice cream. Okay. So, just have to do it. Have to do it once in a while. Your spontaneous vacations. I mean, sometimes I just have to move. I have to get out. We were made for movement. And so when you tell yourself you're not free to move, then it's like you're imprisoning yourself. And sometimes breaking out of that thought is healing for your heart and your brain to just say, you know what, I'm done. I have to go for a drive. I have to go for a small vacation. I have to go to hot springs. I have to do something. We have to do something. So you get up early and you pack the car and you pack a lunch and you decide to go for a hike, or you go to, which I'm hoping maybe some hot springs in the next few days for us. That's how we kind of enter into the new year, is we go find a hot springs and chill out and begin to kind of come down from the last year so we can enter Papa's, new year. And one more example is sometimes I've got to go shopping. And of course I don't have a whole lot of money to go shopping, so I will go to a secondhand store and buy a new dress. My dresses are from the secondhand store. Anyway, I wanted you to I wanted to process that with you. I wanted to process that with you just a little bit here. It was, breaking the rules that are the norm, something that you're going to try to do all the time, breaking that for the sake of the health of your brain and your heart, super important. Give yourself the freedom to do that. This is really crucial, I think, in the health of your heart and your mind. Okay, so another thing, taking care of your mind, is let it go, people. Let it go. This is when you hang on to everything, this is where stress and anxiety come from. So don't hold on to anything unless it's YHVH ELOHIM. Okay, did you hear me? I mean, seriously, you start holding and clenching onto stuff and you are going to be stressed to the max, in case, you're going to be so worried that you're going to lose it. Okay, even your own life. all right, your own life, your children, your husband, your home, your animals, like I feel like I'm the queen of letting go. I'm sure there's a lot of you like that, but I think that I've been through so much that has required, so much of a journey here with Papa that has required, he just constantly says, let go, let go, let go, and it's just one thing after another, and I don't think it's ever going to stop, because we're just, humans by nature cling, right? We're obsessed with stuff and we cling. And I think there's a reason behind that, and I think it's a good one, in the sense of, he's like, I want you to cling to me. I want you to obsess over me. And by doing that, it's going to shift our focus. We're going to be other-centered, and we're going to obey, and we're going to end up in the happily ever after. But you can't end up in that happily ever after if you cling to stuff, if you hold on to it so tightly that, he's not going to drag it out of your hands. He's not going to pry it out of your hands. You have to actually open your hands up and let him take it, or let it go. Okay, did you hear me? You actually have to open your hands up and let him have it. And, I think that as you begin to really process who this Elohim is, who the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is, what his heart is towards you, you're going to be able to do that because you're going to trust him. You're going to literally say, I can do this. I can let go. I can jump. I can free fall because I trust you. That it doesn't mean that everything's going to be great and grand, and he sees what we can't see. So, when we started losing everything and losing the house and living in the woods, it wasn't like he said, let go and I'm going to put you up in a great, suite somewhere for the next 4 years and pay all your bills. And no, he said, let go and I'm going to take you to the wilderness and I'm going to actually make you uncomfortable. So, but in that letting go, which we did, I was happy. There was a lot of joy, of freedom there, because I let go of my life. And it became, if you don't come through for me, Yehovah Elohim, I'm dead meat, and that's not my problem. It's not my fault. This is your gig. I'm yours. And it's going to be what you want, whether it's life for me or whether, I'm done. And literally, that is freedom. So you got to let it go. Okay, so we're going to talk about, letting go is the primary way to begin, I think it's a jump off place to talk about stress and anxiety, okay? So I want to read some scriptures to you. John 14:1 says, do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in Yehovah Elohim, believe in me as well. And this is Yeshua talking, of course. Do not, this is like a command, isn't it? Do not let your heart, seriously, this is a command from our Rabbi Yeshua. And I know it's echoed in the, I know he's echoing Papa. So I know he's echoing Yehovah Elohim in the Old Testament or in the Tanakh. But do not let your hearts be troubled. Do you really, are you like, oh my gosh, are you like, can you hear that? Do not let your heart be troubled. Whoa, how many times have you been, you've just gotten onto Facebook and, some image comes up, something about vaccination, something about X, Y, and Z, and it troubles your heart. What should trouble our hearts is the fact that, so many people are going to go down with the Titanic. And we're actually going to see Yeshua's other command here. So basically about that. So hold on. John, I'm telling myself to hold on. All right, John 14:27 says, Shalom I leave with you, my shalom I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Do not be afraid. It's in the same chapter, John 14. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Do not be afraid. I should have made do not be afraid, that do not in there. I should have made that red, but do not be afraid. So a lot of our, not being able to let it go stems from fear. All right, because we want to live, right? All of us, you were born with the desire to live. In fact, we were born to live forever. That's written on our hearts. We were never meant to die. Death is not normal, okay? That death is something that happens now because of the fall, because of Hasatan. But our hearts, our hearts remember paradise. Our hearts remember what we were created for. So our hearts don't want to die. So there's, a ton of fear with the idea of letting everything go. But Yeshua is saying, do not be afraid. Do not fear. That's huge. I mean, this is a command, people. John 14:27. Let me see here. John 14:20. Maybe I might have the wrong text here. Maybe you can help me with this, but this is a shalom I leave with you, shalom I give to you, and all the world gives. Shalom I give to you. Yeah. Same one. Sorry. I thought it was a different version, but yeah. Again, same one. Shalom. In fact, you know what? On this one, Isaac was trucking, and I shot this text over to him, and he contemplated it for a week or two, and he just thought it was so interesting. Shalom I leave with you. My shalom I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. So I do not give to you as the world gives. So Yeshua is saying that his shalom is not the same as the world's shalom. Okay, the world will say, you can have peace if you do X, right? You can have peace if you go fight for this cause. You can have peace if we get the right president in power. You can have peace if we, care about the planet and we stop all the, bees from dying, or, all this one thing after another, and this is the stimuli problem that overwhelms our hearts and causes us to fear. And he's saying, I do not give shalom to you as the world tries to give you shalom. His shalom, he leaves with us. His shalom is above understanding. It doesn't make sense in this world. But that's the kind of shalom he wants to give us. So he's telling us, in order to have that, do not be afraid. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Okay? I think so you could go off on that for a very long time. All right, so stress and anxiety. Again, John 14:1. I had that one too, so I don't know. I guess I had some extra ones in there. Matthew 6:34 says, and this is where I wanted to come from what we were talking about just a minute ago. But seek first the kingdom of Yehovah and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. So do you remember this? I mean, if you look at Matthew 6, it talks about how, do not worry about what you shall eat or drink or what you shall wear. For the pagans run after these things, but I know what you need idea. So that's a beautiful chapter. You need to read the whole thing. But he says, and your Father in heaven knows that you need all these things. And then there's this beautiful formula that Yeshua gives. He's like, we know you need these things. Papa knows you need these things. Here's how you're going to get it. You seek first his kingdom, and you seek first the kingdom of Yah and his right doings, which is righteousness means right doings. And then all those things that were above this will be given to you. But in the very next breath, he says, therefore, do not worry about tomorrow. For tomorrow will worry about itself. Today has enough trouble of its own. Isn't that true? Woo! So there you have another command. He's like, the command is seek first his kingdom. Everyone. We're not just talking pastors and ministry leaders. Everyone is supposed to be, who has eyes to see and ears to hear. They're supposed to be seeking first the kingdom of Yehovah, which is people. It's scattered Israel. Okay? We're supposed to help them find scattered Israel. So seek first his kingdom and his right doings. So you're supposed to be, seeking first What am I supposed to be doing? How do I repent? And then he says, you know, when you do these things, everything will be given to you that you need. Doesn't mean that you're going to live in a penthouse and all this other jazz, but you're going to get what you need. All right. And then he goes on to say, don't worry. Don't worry about tomorrow, which is a huge, beautiful thing to consider. You know, the idea of worry and anxiety, it has to do with the tomorrows. Like, am I going to live tomorrow? Am I going to have enough to eat tomorrow? Am I going to have enough money tomorrow? Am I going to get home for Shabbat, you know, tomorrow? This kind of worry is going to cause stress and anxiety, and it's going to break the command that Yeshua is saying is, do not worry, for tomorrow it has enough trouble of its own. So, or today has enough trouble of its own. So deal with stuff today. You deal with stuff right away. You know, it's going to help help you not stress and have that anxiety. And I have to say, I have been set free from anxiety. I used to have physical anxiety, like literally. I used to own a company, a graphic design firm, and I had 5 employees, and those employees were completely solely dependent on me making the money. So it was my work that made money they supported me. And it got to be out of control in the sense of how much I had to do. And anxiety actually became a physical manifestation. And it was not until, and we're talking years and years, and we're talking 9 years, okay? And Isaac, I mean, he would take me into the hospital. They would basically shoot me with Valium and send me home with Valium. And of course, I don't do that anymore. And what broke the whole cycle of this anxiety was the process of him taking everything away and shoving us into the wilderness and saying, let go, Rebekah. If you don't let go, you're going to die. And when I realized my life was not even my own, I really understood what he meant. And as soon as I gave him my life, like literally, and said, if I freeze to death here in the teepee, that's your problem, Papa. That's totally your problem. The anxiety left. You know, I think anxiety and stress I think they're demons. I totally do. But then I think that the demons do their work, and then it becomes a physical thing. It becomes something that is actually, you know, something involuntary. And but it wasn't until I said, okay, I'm going to stop trying to hold on to everything. We were trying to hold on to our house and not lose it. We were trying to hold on to our life and not lose what we had worked so hard for. And as soon as we said, no more, I'm done troubleshooting you, and let go, and began the free fall, that's when the stress and anxiety left. I'm not kidding you. So if you're in a situation where he's inviting you to let go, and it may be hard, the path in front of you may be super hard when you look at it and go, that can't possibly be from him. Oh, it can. Trust me. Oh, it can. He's not about giving you comfort. He's about getting you to the happily ever after, people. And you have to go through the wilderness time to get there. And the wilderness will clarify you. It will purify you. It will set you free from a lot of things that you had no idea held you. I'm so serious about this, and this could be a whole nother show on its own. Yeah, you want to be set free. You need movement. You need to say to him, you are my Father, my Creator, my Papa. You're the family in heaven. You're everything to me, and I am good as dead. So I'm going to trust you. I'm going to move towards you, and whatever it is you ask, I'm going, and I'm going to let go of everything. And you know, it's interesting that he had us let go, and for a season, and then when the wilderness time was over, he began to give it all back. And now it's in its proper place. Now I'm not clinging to it. Now I don't have anxiety attacks anymore. And it's been, since 2010. 2010, so almost a decade, you know. So, but I learned my lesson, and I don't hang on to stuff. So once you're set free, I believe that he can restore and bring, you know, things back to you that were taken away, even now before the king comes back. There'll be a whole lot more coming later, but yeah. All right, so first let me read this. 1 Peter 5:7 says, cast, there's a command, cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. Look at that. I mean, there is a command about anxiety. Cast it all on him because he cares about, because he loves you. This is Papa talking, you know, through Peter, whoever wrote that book. Cast all your anxiety on him. Cast it, like give it, like say, I don't want it. I can't have it. It's going to kill me if I keep holding on to it. So I'm going to give it to you. This is taking care of your mind and heart. Okay. This is super important. This subject will, you know, stress and anxiety will rip you up inside. It will destroy you. So it doesn't matter whether you are eating healthy, all organic, if you're living a, you know, perfect lifestyle, if you're not cleaning with bad products, if you're careful about what you put in your face and what you're putting in you, and you never do immunizations and never go to, you know, to allopathic medicine and drugs for healing and just do naturopath. If you do all, it doesn't matter. Stress and anxiety can prevent all of that from working. Stress and anxiety is absolutely devastating, and you well know it, I'm sure. So you need to begin a process of healing over that. I'm sure all of us, you know, have dealt with that because we live in a poison planet. We live in a world at war. We live in a world that is just like it's a top, and it's just getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And at some point it's going to be let go, and it's going to just, you know, spin out of control. But you don't have to, because you know who your Elohim is. You trust your Elohim to rescue you, to save you, to love you, and you know his heart towards you. That's super important. Okay. Woo, lots to talk about here. Okay, Philippians 4:6 says, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, gratitude, present your request to Yah. So Wendy, my friend, is, she's big into gratitude, and she thinks healing is found when somebody is full of gratitude. And I absolutely 100% agree with her. And obviously this text, be anxious. Have anxiety for nothing, but in everything by prayer and petition, as in over and over and over, with gratitude, with thanksgiving, present your requests to Yehovah Elohim. Papa. Yeah. Isn't that, I find this good. So here's another thing I wanted to just chat about for a sec is when you're taking care of your mind, give yourself the freedom to be the best version of yourself. At least, you know, sometimes during the week. So, like, I got all dressed up tonight to do this show, and Maggie came home and she went, whoa, you clean up pretty good. You know, why don't you do that all the time? Well, I'm slogging some of the time, a lot of the time. So, but in moments like this, I feel like I'm the best version of myself. When I go exercising, or when I participate in a sport, or when I, you know, am, you know, being in a romantic moment with my husband, or I'm, you know, being a good mom, and, you know, the best version of yourself. Seek that. Seek those times, because you're feeding your heart and your brain information about you, about who you want to be, about, you know, being your best version of yourself. I think, you know, I think that's a really important thing to consider. Okay, and then, all right, we're on the verge of going to the heart here. Be nice to your heart. Okay, so your brain and your heart are two separate things. Your heart has a mind of its own, okay? So if you don't know this by now, I don't know what planet you're on, but basically your heart has a mind of its own. It is informed by your brain, but your heart makes decisions on its own. So the idea is to be nice to your heart. So your brain needs to take care of your heart. So let's go to the next section here. And that's all we're going to do. We're going to do this section, and then we are done for this evening. But so let's talk about taking care of your heart here. Does your heart trust you? This is a huge thing to chat about and to consider is, you know, when Yehovah says, love me with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, all your strength, all your everything, and love others as yourself. You know, I'm going to actually put this big because I want you to really consider this. Does your heart trust you? So if you are to love others as yourself, then you need to know how to love yourself, right? So one way to love your heart is for your brain to be nice to your heart. So my big question is, does your heart trust you? Are you nice to it? Is your heart scared of you? Does it wonder what you're going to do to it next, or wonder what you're going to demand of it next, or put it through? Or does your heart think, she's going to take care of me? She's not going to, yes, she's going to challenge me. Absolutely. That's okay. She's going to help me grow. Because, and I'm talking about like me in first person. I am going to help my heart grow. I'm going to challenge my heart, but I'm going to take care of my heart. And I'm going to do that by surrendering it to Yehovah. So because in giving it to the creator of it, I'm going to do that by cleaning it up. I'm going to do that by allowing the Ruach, wanting the Ruach, inviting the Ruach, begging the Ruach to live in my heart, to keep it supple, to keep it soft, and to keep it courageous and brave, and all these beautiful things, and to keep it on the path to the happily ever after. But does your heart trust you? That's a huge question, and I remember when Isaac and I first asked that question, it was something that he really had some heart movement on at the time, and he went, whoa, I know that my heart does not trust me, because my heart's scared of what I will ask of it. So again, it doesn't mean that you don't ask your heart to do hard things, or to be challenged or whatnot, or go on an adventure, or work through hard things. But like, for example, if you have a situation where somebody you love has died, or an animal or something, a hard situation that you have to walk through, does your heart know that you will give it time to grieve? If you're asking your heart to go through that, and you keep shutting your heart up and saying, no, stop, no, shut up, I don't want to hear you, don't grieve, don't cry, don't, just get over it, just be done with it. It's and you try to rationalize and be logic with your brain tries to be logical and rationalize with your heart. It doesn't work. So that's what I'm talking about. Does your heart trust you? So my heart trusts me, because I know that if I go through a really hard time that requires tears and grieving and time, I will give it to my heart, because I know I can't go on to the next thing until that's taken care of. And otherwise, I've seen too many people, bottle stuff up, bottle, and then, in the end, or they're, a shell of a human being, because they never let their heart breathe. They never enjoy. It's the other side too. You have the grieving, but you also have the joy. Does your heart trust that you will allow it joy? Or will you rip away the joy as soon as something begins to, fall apart? Or will you allow your heart to be, joyful and happy for a season, a time, how quickly do we, tell our hearts to, you have something to be joyful about, and then, wow, then you got, you live one more step, and there's something hard that happens, and you steal that joy away by not focusing on it, by not allowing your heart to have more of that, or to sit in that, and you feed your heart negativity or whatnot that kills it. So consider this. This is a really important thing to consider. All right. So, and then also thinking about, do you forgive yourself? This goes on that same line. Hey, Kate, I'm going to have you sit down. Sorry, baby. Go on. Okay. So, do you forgive yourself? How you treat your heart is how you treat other people. So when he says love others as yourself, if you don't forgive yourself, how are you ever going to know how to forgive anybody else? How you treat your heart is how you treat other people's hearts. Okay, so if you give yourself freedom to have a journey, then you will give other people freedom to have a journey, and everybody will be happier. Okay, if you treat your heart with care and love, then you're going to treat other people the same way a whole lot more. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of verses here that we're going to run through. Proverbs 17:22, a merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit dries the bones up. So if you look at that, merry is samak, which is interesting because during the feast time you say Hag Sameach. It's like, so it means to be glad, joyful, merry. So a merry heart doeth good like a medicine, like literally laughing is so healing to your body. And a joyful heart, oh, you're going to get better. You're going to feel better. You're going to be healed a lot more when you have like gratitude, like we were just talking about, as well as a happy heart. Yes, but a broken spirit dries up the strength, dries up your bones. You know, a broken spirit. Oh, so choose happy. Choose merry. All right, Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Oh my gosh. I got to show you. Ransom Heart Ministry really, really changed our life. And so one of their core scriptures for their ministry is this text. Above all else, guard your heart. This is King Solomon, who was the wisest man in all of the world up till a point when he had 699 too many wives. Which don't get me started on the polygamy thing. It is not scriptural. Every time it happened, there were problems. This is going outside of his will. He made concessions. Okay. But anyway, point being, that's why Israel got torn from Solomon, was because of that sin. Okay, people? Anyway, I will do a teaching on that someday. But anyway, point being is John Eldridge with this Ransom Heart Ministry, he has, it's just amazing. There are so many books, Sacred Romance, The Journey of Desire, super good book, Waking the Dead. You can't see these, can you? Wild at Heart, for the ladies, Captivating. I don't know if you can see that. Nope, too shiny, sorry. Captivating. And then again here, so you can see Waking the Dead. Can't hardly see that, can you? The Journey of Desire and Sacred Romance. These books and the teachings that from Ransom Heart Ministry changed our life, because it talks, they are 100%, they know what they're talking about when they talk about the heart. They're teaching about the heart, what the heart is, and how to take care of it. So this is King Solomon saying, above all else, guard your heart. And that means protect it, because from it flows life. From it flows everything, okay? We're going to look here at some more scriptures that kind of echo this. John 7:38 says, whoever believes in me, Yeshua is talking, as the scripture has said, streams of living water will flow from within him. Okay, look at that. So we have King Solomon saying, everything you do flows from it, your heart. And then Yeshua is saying, living water will flow from your heart, if you believe in him. Okay, super cool. Isaiah 58:11 says, Yahweh will always guide you. He will satisfy you in a sun-scorched land and strengthen your frame. You will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail. So it's not like a reservoir where, and that's kind of like how I feel right now, actually. I'm so excited to go on this sabbatical because I'm hoping that my heart will turn into a spring again. Like, it feels a little dry right now, honestly, and I'm going to take care of it. So my heart trusts me, right? So you will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail. Super cool. Ezekiel 47:9 says, wherever the river flows, there will be swarms of living creatures and a great number of fish, because it flows there and makes the waters fresh. So wherever the river flows, everything will flourish. So the idea is, if you're in motion, if your stream is flowing from your heart, everything around you is going to flourish. Oh my. And it all stems from the heart, right? John 4:14 says, Yeshua said to her, everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again, but whoever drinks the water I give him will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give him will become in him a fount of water springing up to eternal life. Oh my gosh. Like, did you see that? Like what flows out of your heart is going to lead you to eternal. Oh. If the Ruach lives there and yada, 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 and it's been restored. Okay, here we go. Everyone, John 4, man, she's incessant, aren't you? Are you hungry? That must be it. I'll get her some food here in a second. Yeshua, or John 4:14 says, Yeshua said to her, everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty. Oh, wait, I already had that, right? Yeah, I did. Sorry. Okay. Had two there. Luke 8:15 says, but the seeds on good soil are those with a noble and good heart, who hear the word, cling to it, and by persevering produce a crop. Okay, this is huge. This could be a whole entire show on its own. I don't have time to do it, but basically, and John Eldridge's stuff, his teachings and whatnot, his retreats and whatnot, go into this in major detail. But the idea of, our hearts were bad. Yeshua came to heal the brokenhearted, which I have that verse here for you, and set the captives free. So he's healing the hearts. So in the end, your heart is not deceitfully wicked if it is healed, right? Okay, so you can't have a healed heart and be deceitfully wicked, like the scripture does say in the Tanakh, that the heart is deceitfully wicked. Yes, it is, when it's not surrendered to the creator of it and not healed by Yeshua, okay? And when the Ruach doesn't live in it, and when it's not a cleaned up temple. Yes, it is deceitfully wicked and all that, absolutely. But when it is restored and healed, and when Yeshua's work is done in your heart, then you are the good soil, which means when the seeds are planted in the springtime during the spring feast, oh my gosh, then they can grow and plant. They can be planted. He can plant in your heart, and you'll have, fruit. You'll bear fruit. Awesome. Okay. Psalms 147:3. Yahweh builds up Jerusalem. He gathers the exiles of Israel. The scattered. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. He heals the brokenhearted. Super important. He's healing the brokenhearted. That is what Yeshua came to do. In Isaiah 61:1, this is what, when Yeshua started his ministry, when he opened it, he was in a synagogue one Shabbat, and he stood up to read, opened up to Isaiah 61:1. He read half of this verse. You're supposed to read a certain amount. He didn't, because the last part of it isn't done. But Isaiah 61:1, he says, the Ruach HaKodesh of Yahweh Elohim is on me, because Yahweh has anointed me to preach the good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and release from darkness to the prisoners. He came to bind up the brokenhearted, to heal the brokenhearted, as some versions say. That is super important. So if your heart isn't healed, doesn't mean it's not going to have pain and go through processes of grieving and joy and the whole, roller coaster of life. You're not going to be like, if your heart is like just totally always fine, then you're dead, okay? Life means that you're going to have, when you look at, monitors on the heart goes like this, boom, 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 up, down, up, down. You're going to have up, down, up, down, up, downs, but you're going to let your heart breathe, right? Breathe with joy, breathe with sadness, breathe with, happy, like ecstaticness and rejoicing, and then, grieve, that sort of thing. But you can do that with a bound or a healed heart. Okay, a healed heart is going to be doing this. An unhealed heart is going to be like flatline. Okay, so let's keep going. Things that are good for, I'm going to close out here with just a few slides about just some ideas, things that are good for your heart. This is such a huge topic. I mean, we spent, 5 years with this topic. It's huge, and so I highly suggest John Eldridge and Ransom Heart Ministries to learn how to take care of your heart, learn what your heart is and how to take care of it, and to have a healthy heart. That's part of the series. I don't think that you can just have a health series talking about what you put in your stomach. A health series also must include your heart and your mind, and how the two work together, and how to get them healed. Okay, they obviously, Ransom Heart Ministry is not Melchizedek. They are not Hebrew by any means, but they know the heart. John understands the heart. Papa has given him a message. And if you can look through these books, go to the retreat if you need to, and kind of filter out some of the Christian stuff that is, false, and look at the heart of what the message is here, it's going to change your life. It changed ours. It literally saved our marriage, and that is a huge long story that we told in one of the shows in season 1, but it saved our marriage. It saved our our life. It saved everything when Isaac went to the retreat, and we learned about the heart. So things that are good for your heart. I bet you could write a list right here. Are animals good for your heart? Yes. Oh my gosh. If you're not an animal lover, then we don't probably have too much in common, because I think animals are so important. And I think Papa gave us animals to be good for our hearts. I mean, just the whole idea of, the motion of petting. They have done studies that is healing for the brain when you pet an animal. I mean, Papa made us. He made animals. He made us to live together, actually. Didn't he? Yes, baby. All right, another thing. Nature. Is nature good for your heart? Yes! Oh my gosh, we were created to actually live in nature. And so to go, to say, I can't stand these four walls anymore. I can't stand drywall anymore. I paint. I got to get out into nature and feel the breeze on me, and the wind and the elements. Huge, very, very important. And that's a good way to take care of your heart, is get out of the house. Okay, and another thing, music. Yeah. Oh my, Maggie loves. She loves epic music, like orchestra, film soundtracks, that sort of thing. That's what I love, and I'm so thankful that my daughters haven't gravitated towards the pop and all that crap. They actually love really good music, and it's really good for our hearts. I remember when we had a house and I had our music system, I'd crank it and just let the music have me, and it just cleans. Isaac loves music. He finds a lot of, he can actually hear Papa better through music than through words or anything else. So music, don't shut that out of your life. How about the beach? Oh my gosh, I've seen so many things lately on Facebook that say, there's so many studies that say you need to go to the beach. Like, there's something about the beach. Not talking about being evolved from something in the water, okay? That's not what we're talking about. Wide open spaces. We're talking about the thundering, of the rhythm of the ocean, and the electric stuff in the air, and the cleansing. Oh, it's just, we need to go to the beach. So that for me is like super good for my heart. Friends, are you staying most of your time by yourself? Maybe need people. I used to love being a lifeguard because I could sit and watch people. That's one reason I really loved photography and being a wedding photographer, is I got to sit and watch people and be around people. So, if you're sitting on your couch just watching TV, not the same thing. Not the same thing. So take care of your heart and be with people. Journaling, how about that? Journaling. Isaac used to love journaling. I did lots of journaling, so you can just write it out and get it out of your heart. Now I do videos and other creative ways of getting it out of my heart. But how about journaling, for heaven's sakes? Or adventure. Spontaneous road trips, or, whatever men like to have adventures, good, wholesome, clean adventures that you can do in front of Papa and before him, that are good and that are good for the heart. Isaac, one time, we just had to do something for his heart, and got a mountain bike, basically. Oh, that was so wonderful for my heart to hear him going up the mountain. Oh, that was good. Adventure. How about security of the commands? And this is something that is really cool, in the sense of, it is really good for my heart to know the boundaries that Papa has set. So these aren't man-made boundaries. This isn't something that some, committee got together and decided around a board table. People that are equal with me, who decide what I need to do, what rules I need to follow. No, this is the King of the universe. This is YHVH ELOHIM's, the Creator's, Papa's boundaries. How cool is that? Like, the security of that, of knowing, what? It's Shabbat, and I'm done. Like, I can't keep working. I can't, because he said no. There's security in that, and it's good for your heart, because, like, wow, I am going to stop. Hey, knock it off. Stop that. Go on, down. Go on, down. Go on. I'll get you something to eat in a second. But security of that, and I'm kind of looking at my 50th year like that. It's like, one comes once, and I'm going to really, experience a Jubilee year. So outside of everything else I need to do, I'm done. I'm just going to be done for a sabbatical year. So there's, all the commands that Papa has kosher. It's like you don't have to rethink every meal. You know exactly what you can and what you can't eat. So, it's restful for your heart because there's this boundary that is set by the Creator, not by yourself or somebody who wants to control you. It's for your own good. It's because He created you and He knows exactly what you need. Yeah, it's like the designer says, here's the owner's manual, and the car doesn't know how to take care of itself. It's like the creator of the car knows how it works. Okay, and then also play. Oh, I have not played enough. So, last summer I think I got so exhausted of just work and being a mom and the responsibilities and whatnot, and so I decided I've got to go do something fun, and so contacted one of my friends who was into contra dancing and waltz dancing and that sort of thing, and what do you call that? Tango, thank you. And they had a gathering, and I showed up, to just learn some tango, and it was so wonderful for my heart. It was, the girls were sitting there watching. It was good for their heart to see their mom doing something like that with a friend, and it was so wonderful. And Isaac and the girls and I, when he's, home, sometimes we've gone contra dancing. How fun is that? It's old-fashioned country dancing in the square, like a square dancing sort of thing. That's play for adults, okay? So not playing on some stupid game online or gaming or that. I never, ever will ever touch that, and I will never let my girls touch that. So anyway, playing as an outside skiing. I know Shannon, one of my friends, is skiing all the time. She's taking her kids skiing all the time. It's a beautiful time of year to do that, but take care of your heart. Last year, was able to find a secondhand paddleboard and took the paddleboard out. Oh, play. We don't play enough at all. All right, so we'll go on things. I showed you John Eldridge's stuff, and we're done. Yay. So I hope that was just a good, just a good presentation for you to begin the process of looking at the health of your heart and the health of your mind. So I know that there are so many things in here you could spend hours on. Time to go though. So let me go ahead and play my Havdalah video, and then I'll be back one more time and we'll say goodnight.
I like to close Shabbat with a small ceremony called Havdalah. Havdalah is division, dividing the holy day from the work days. It's important to somehow guard the edges of Shabbat. There are so many ways that you can enter and exit Shabbat. If you do it like our brother Judah does it, you'll need a Kiddush cup for talking about overflowing joy, a Havdalah candle to talk about when the two become one, spices for talking about how to be a fragrant aroma to the King. Whatever you do, separate Shabbat out. Teach your children how to do this, and do it beautifully. May the ways of YHVH ELOHIM, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, burn into the minds and hearts of the next generation.
Okay, very good. So I just want to leave you with Yeshua's blessing on his Melchizedek priest, which is basically to say that he wanted, I've lost my cards, but he basically said as they were walking to Gethsemane, he was blessing his Melchizedek priest, and he said he wanted Yehovah to be in them like him and like Yeshua and the Father were in each other. So that idea that he wanted them one together as the Father and the Son were one together, but he also wanted the Father to live in them, to be in them as the Father and the Son were in each other. So super cool blessing. May Yehovah bless you. May his eyes turn towards you, and may he just shine on you and give you health. And may he bless you with wealth, and may he bless you with shalom, and may he get you to the happily ever after and continue to give you eyes to see and ears to hear. And I can't wait to meet you at the great wedding feast of the Lamb. I hope you've had a great Shabbat. So Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Tov. Have a wonderful next week, and I'll see you one more show before my sabbatical. Bye, buddy.
Your generous and faithful support is much needed in order for our ministry to thrive. If you have benefited from our work, then please become a patron today. Visit www.patreon.com/Rebekah Garvin to give your support. Thank you.
Thank you.